Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk. Art and Talk is an online interviewing platform for artists to share their art, creativity, and passion. We embrace all the arts, the traditional arts and the spiritual arts, to bring you diverse and quality interviews to watch and to be inspired by. If you are an artist and you're interested in being interviewed with us, just send an email to viewoftheartist@gmail.com and we'll get back to you with scheduling and information. And please stay connected with us on our social media, on our YouTube channel, and also on our Facebook page. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Art and Talk, and thank you so much for being here today. Today we have a guest Jamaican visual artist, and we're going to find out all about his art and his artistic journey. He's a painter, and he works in a variety of subject matter ranging from figurative to portraiture, to animals, to landscape, to still life. And we'll be looking at a select view of some of his work and finding out what his art is all about. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. And I'd like to welcome our guest Jamaican visual artist for today, Andy Ballentine. Andy, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's Andy Ballentine. Thanks. T-I-N-E.
Ballentine, yes.
Right, great. Thank you very much, Leslie Sue, for having me on this great platform. I think it's a great platform for artists, and good day to all of your viewers and everyone who tune in and all the people who make this possible. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Andy. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You have such an interesting background. I know that you're self-taught and you started to draw at an early age. Let's hear from you a little bit to kind of get our feet wet with your art and your background.
Okay, I'm a Jamaican artist. I was born in Jamaica. I still live in Jamaica. I live also in America. So I live in Jamaica and I live in America, back and forth. But for me, as a Jamaican artist, painting in Jamaica, it's really, it's more deep and than when you travel in America and you see how artists paint. Because a lot of time when you're painting in Jamaica, you're outdoors because there's a lot of scenes, a lot of exciting things to look at and paint. But in America now, you have to in a studio, so you don't get the same vibe. But I've been painting from around 5 to 10. I've been painting. I can remember that. I used to draw the doors everywhere, you know. I used to melt the crayon and use it to paint and stuff like that. But after leaving high school, then I decided I want to do art full time. So I started to paint, exhibit my work and stuff like that. But then now people was reaching out to me and like, hey, Andy, listen, we're not going to support you anymore because you need a formal training. Even though I can do the work, they don't want me to stop paint like the next year. Like, okay, you get some money, then next month you stop paint and all of our investment in you gone down the drain. So you have to give us something. And from there, I move on to the Jamaica School of Art, which is the Edna Manley of visual art. And then I just move on and start to do painting. And then I start to get show. But before I went to Edna Manley, I used to do international show, like in Miami and a couple other places. But Jamaica is a beautiful place, and a lot of people purchase art. They love art, but they want to know that you're not going to stop tomorrow or a few years after, you know. So when you go and get the formal training now, they think that okay, you're on your way. So basically, that's how my story started.
Yes, yes. So then that kind of showed your dedication by getting the formal training.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And so, Andy, I'm just wondering. So you're 5 or 6 years old, and I was reading in your artist bio there were the storybooks, drawings that you used to also copy. And so, did you just naturally just feel a pull towards drawing and it just came easy to you? What were those early experiences like that really set the foundation for your art career?
All right. All right. That early experience for me is what led me to this moment, because I was the only child at the time from my parents, right? So I have to find something to, to feel appreciated in myself after my parents gone to work and stuff like that. So my father used to give me some books, and it have a lot of drawing in it. But the books them now is black and white, and it have the caption and stuff. But the drawing really fascinated me from around 5. And then now I start to copy the drawing from the book and put it on other papers and stuff. So I find out the more I draw, the more I feel comfort. I feel comfortable in myself, not having a brother around or a sister around. So those drawing from the book helped me to make an early decision that this is what I want. And then now, after I moved from where I used to live in Spanish Town, go to a place in Portmore, in Dumbolin, then I started to use paint because the community find out that I can draw. So the barber shop, the church, the restaurant, they used to just come for me, and it wasn't like I used to get paid or anything, but it's just a joy for me to do it. And so while going to school, I'm doing art, but I want to give you a story. When I was in high school, I was in grade 9. That is the time that you have to choose an era to move on to. You have to choose some skill, either art or something. So my friend said to me, listen, Andy, you are one of the best artists in the school. Don't choose art. Choose something else. So I remember I chose carpentry. And then now I never choose art. So I used to go to the carpentry class. They call it woodwork in Jamaica. I used to go there every day when it's time for me to go and doing it. But one day, I was passing the art department because the teacher know me from a long time. So I was passing the art department, and the teacher pulled me in the class and said, listen, this is where you're supposed to be. Where you pass, where you going? So when I went in the class now, I find out I'm the 4th person in the class. There's only 3 persons in there. Only 3 persons out of the whole school choose art. And I was the 4th person. So I was there back and forth going to the woodwork class, leave from there, coming back. But one day, when I went to the art department, the teacher take me and put me right off the window. So the woodwork teacher was passing by, and because I was sitting at right beside the window, he looked in there and saw me. So I'm like, what you doing in here? Come in there and start. And that is a serious thing for you to choose 2 things. It can get you kicked out of the school, like, So he was like, what you doing in here? And the teacher now for the art department said, listen, he's in here, him there. So the teacher said, no, he can't. There's no way that's possible, because I've been in my register at the carpentry class. So for him in here, and he come to class last week. Teacher said, well, him in here from last month. But I was going to the 2 class. So the teacher said, listen, him is the best we have in here. We have to work out something. You can't report him. We have to work it out right here. So the teacher said, you know what? Take him. And then when I look and see that a teacher put her career on the line for me, I decided that no, I have to do this for them. Because they didn't have anybody in there to really represent the art department. So I just stayed there until I developed myself, and then I move on. And now I am the ambassador for that school, and I'm also the ambassador for the art department.
Wow, that's wonderful. And that is such an amazing story. And I'm so glad that you shared that, Andy. That really shows, that, well, first of all, that the power of, that the teacher and, they're, honoring your skills and talents and really, taking that
Right.
risk and saying, look, this is where you belong. I mean, that's really powerful. And I've had many other artists come on, Andy, that also have had a very influential teacher that really helped to guide them into their art journey, similar to yours. And what a beautiful gesture of that teacher to do, and to really help set the foundation and kind of get you on your course, because you were, in the carpentry and you were kind of pursuing something else. But it also kind of shows that if you're meant to do something, it's going to happen one way or another. So what a great door that
Right.
opened for you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really gives me a different perspective on life from there. That there are people out there that want you to do good, and if you happen to in that person's space, they will give you that helping hand, because it was a serious thing for me to go into the carpentry class and go in and back to woodwork, the art class. They could just throw me out of the school. But then now, when it's time for me to graduate and leave the school, it happened one day, happened to go to the office, and the principal saw one of my drawing books, because at the time they was giving out some packages for people who cannot afford to move on to university or something. You can go to some training center and develop your skill. So when the teacher looking in my drawing book now, she said to me, listen, that is the principal. Sorry, the principal. She said, listen to me. We are not going to send you just by the training center alone. We're going to send you to a company to do a part-time job. And that company was a printery in Spanish Town. And so I said, I don't want to go to any printery. She said, listen, you have to go there. But when the teacher looked at my drawing, she said that the printery that used somebody like me, because the printery have a connection with the school. And so when I leave now and go over to the printery, that is when I learn about graphics art, learn how to do graphics and build light signs and stuff like that, and know how to set letters and letterhead and stuff like that, because it's a huge printery. So that printery helped me in my fine art with my canvas, know how to the composition and how to place the object and the canvas.
Yes, and I see that in your artwork as well, that influence. Andy, we have a video that we're going to show, and it's mostly of you actually painting, so we get to see you in process. And it's mostly your portraiture work. Is there anything you would like to say about this before we show it to everyone?
Well, I would like to say about my portrait. What people see is what inside of me, and I just bring it out and the portrait and the canvas. And I just want people to know that when you look at my portrait, I strongly believe in myself, and I'm somebody who really connect to my spiritual side. So a lot of time when I'm doing portrait, it feels to me like the creator is the one who minister through me. So I just don't get up and just paint something. It has to hit me, and then I just work with it. So what you see is what inside.
I love that. Andy, give me a second. Let's pull this up so we can show this. Just a moment, please. All right, Andy, that really gives us a lot of insight into your portraiture work and really intense detail work.
Yeah, I really study the human face structure, and if I'm going to do a portrait, I want to go deep, very deep. You can see the pores, you know, every strand of ear,
Mm-hmm,
because it's art. You want to bring it to life.
mm-hmm. And are these in acrylic and oil?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that observations are important to you and detail. So we definitely see that in your portraiture work. So your sense of observation and sense of seeing, talk to us a little bit about that, because I know that that has a strong flavor for you and you know what we just saw in your portraiture work.
Well, all right. I'm going to put it like this. I just paint, but I paint from my soul. I just don't take the paint and the canvas and do so. I have to paint from my soul. So I have to choose myself. So I don't want to put a name to it, but for me, everything that I paint it from within before I even put it on the canvas. So it's just simple like that. I just paint from my soul. I don't want to say, you know, I create this because of this way. No, I just paint from my soul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that painting from your soul. So so part of that for you that it's important, and we've been discussing is getting into the details to bring it alive. But talk to us a little bit more. So you're coming from within, which is so beautiful, and coming from a place of your soul. When you're actually in your studio or painting outside, you're in the creative mode and you're in that art zone. Do you have any rituals you can share with us? Do you go into a meditative state beforehand? Coming from that deep place, excuse me, within you, and then expressing that out in your canvas. Tell us a little bit more about how you kind of tap into that, because this is, your art is something you take very seriously. It's very close to your heart and soul, and that's where you're seeing that you bring that out, you exude and express that out into your artwork.
Okay, yeah, all right. I can explain that in this way. All right. For me, most of the portrait that I paint is Jamaican famous. It's famous people from Jamaica like Bob Marley, Peter Touch, the Dennis Brown and a couple others. So I like to have a blank canvas and the easel at all times. And I like to have blank canvas lying around the studio at all times, because if something come to my mind, I just look at the canvas and I put it on the canvas. I don't jot down things. I don't sketch unless the only way I sketch is if I cannot paint in that location. I will go there and sketch out the object or the scene, and then I come and put it on the canvas. But for me as an artist, I don't dot down anything and say, okay, I'm gonna paint this. If an idea come to me, I find the studio and I just put it there. Because for me, if I save it, I'm gonna add to it after. And I don't want to add to it. I want to just put it out there raw, just like where I get it. So whenever ideas come to me, I just start to paint. I also paint an airplane. A lot of time I'm traveling to a next state and an idea come to me and I take out my little pocket paint and I just put it in my thing right away. So it gives me that life right away, or I feel putting it out there. It just makes me feel alive. But I can't dot things down and say, oh, I'm gonna paint this. And no, I just put the raw ideas out of my head and the canvas.
So it's a very spontaneous, very fresh type of organic approach for you, Andy.
Exactly.
So you get some inner guidance, like you've seen these blank canvases around your studio, wherever you might be, and all of a sudden you get like an inner vision of what that's going to be, and then boom, you just go.
Right, correct. So I get that rush from that, right? But I can't sit down and say, oh, I'm going to paint that tomorrow. No, I don't do that. The only way I do that is if somebody commission me and say, you know, I want you to do this painting, then I'll go ahead and do that. But if I'm just going to paint for me or for people to see, because one thing, I don't paint to please my client. I paint to please me. And once I please me, the client will please. Because I'm not going to give the client something don't look good. I'm not going to give the client something that I know that people are going to talk about in a bad way. So if I please myself because I paint for myself, so if I please myself, the client must please. Because that's how I paint, to please me. Because I'm putting out a part of me out there to the world. And I want the world to see that this is not anything scary or anything like that. It's something beautiful for you to find joy from, get joy from, and peace. Understand? So you have to look at the art and find that peace from the art. So I don't paint scary stuff. I try to create life on the canvas, because for me, I think as an artist, we are the closest thing to the creator. We can create, we can recreate what the creator already created. We just can't put the life to it so it moves. So whenever you're putting something on the canvas, you have to make it have life, so other people can find that joy in that piece. And that's it for me. That's how I paint.
That's beautiful, and I love your conviction and your authenticity, Andy. So would it be correct to say that your message overall in your art is joy and peace?
Just exactly, just joy and peace and love, nothing more.
All right. Let's take a look at some of your other work. So because we were saying earlier, you do portraiture and you also work in figurative, you do landscape, you do still life, you really were abstract as well. So you really work
Body art, you name it.
Yes. Let's take a look at some of your other art and have you elaborate. Give me just a second and I'll pull some of the images up. All right. What would you like to share with this?
Okay. Oh, I think it was going to, sorry. All right. This one, it's called Blessing. Blessing of an elephant. And the ideas come to me and I just start to paint it. And the more I paint it, I realize that it's not fair for me to make it look like an elephant per se, but use colors and shape the colors like an elephant. So if you look at it, it's just colors and lines and it shape out like an elephant. So that's how this piece come about. I just look at the canvas with the idea in my head to paint an elephant. I actually was going to paint an elephant walking up a hill, and then it said no, you don't want that. You want to define it so people can understand why you call it the blessing of an elephant. Because if you look down the bottom, you see the green, and the green is the growth, and the yellow is the sunshine, and the red is the pain and the heartache that people go through in life on a day-to-day basis. But then it's also showing you that the blue that you see in the arm and the elephant head and his face and everything, it shows you that no matter what you're going through, there is hope, and the blue represent the hope. So just keep pressing on because hope is there. So that's how this piece come about. That's why it named the blessing of an elephant.
So it's all a lot of a symbolism through your color and through shape and line, and giving a message of just keep on keeping on, and a message of hope.
Yeah, correct. Because that is life. It don't matter where your position. Nobody choose where they want to born. If you want to born in America or Jamaica or England or Canada, but you have to understand that when you reach at that point, you have to take on your own challenge, you have to take on your own journey. But don't look at the journey, don't look at the distance in the journey, because every step of the way it's up and it's have it down. But it's how you look at it, it's how you want to define it. You understand? So if you look at the elephant, you see everything behind him. But in the end of the day, the growth is on the ground, and it shows that every step you make is a step to is a closer step to the success. So you just have to keep stepping because it's not going to disappear. It's already planned that way. So that's how my message through my art. You have to look deep, but maybe you just look at it and say, oh, it's an elephant with colors and lines. But when I explain it to you, you will understand that it's more than that.
Right. There's a lot of deep underlying messages going on. I'm also wondering, Andy, a couple things. One is with this particular message to, overcome challenges and hope, and not to look at the distance, all the things you've been mentioning. Why did you choose an elephant? What does the elephant symbolize for you?
As I said before, and I didn't choose the elephant. The idea has come to me to paint an elephant walking up the hill. And I just go ahead with it. But the message for me is just, you can use any object to carry out that message. You can use a cat, a dog, or something, but the idea of the elephant just come to me. And as I said before earlier, once the idea come, I don't wait, because maybe if I did wait till the next day, I would have had something else to it. And then it would feel alive to me. So I didn't choose an elephant. It's just an idea. And I run with the idea.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for elaborating on that. So it's very much that sense of being in the moment, and very much that aliveness. And you pay attention to the inner cues that you get, because that was really beautiful. You didn't choose the elephant. The elephant kind of chose you, and that's what you saw. And then you just were like, okay, right, that's what I'm going to paint. Now, did you work from a photograph or an image of an elephant, or was it just straight on, just going at the canvas?
No, I don't work from a photograph.
Okay, even in your portraits?
Not all of my portraits. Most of them, like portrait that of well-known people, I paint most of those from photograph. But there are portraits that I have done and I just painted, because when I used to, all right, before all of this, I'm the type of artist that you can explain something to me and I bring it to life. That's how I train my brain, my mind. You can tell me about a vacation scene. I have you sit beside me and you say, I go to Mexico on this vacation. I was at this hotel, and I will bring that hotel to life on the canvas. You just have to tell me how it, the whole settings and everything, and I will just bring it to life. So when an idea come to my head, I don't have to find, if an idea said paint an elephant, I don't have to find an elephant because the idea already in my head. So all I have to do look at the canvas, and then I know how to lay it out.
Yes. Okay, great. So it's very pure. Your whole approach to art is very pure and almost like in a way reactionary in a positive way, because you get these inner guidances, inner hunch, and then it's just like you don't try to define it, you don't put it in a box, you just go with it, and you just have that trust and that just, go with that rush, as you said, that rush of feeling alive.
Correct.
One other thing I noticed, Andy, is because I know that you painted other elephants, as I was looking on your beautiful art link that houses much of your artwork that people can purchase. So I saw kind of a series of different elephants. But I noticed in this particular one, and as what you've elaborated on is as kind of the message you want to bring forth, is that the elephant is actually head on. We're actually looking straight on to the elephant. And I feel like that's also based on what you said, to also kind of confront head on and face your challenges because of the position
Correct.
of the elephant. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have to face it because there's no way you can lose in going after what you want in life. But you will always lose if you try to go back in time, because there's no way that's possible. So you just have to head on and face what's ahead of you. But a lot of time, because we can't see ahead of us, we form something in our mind that's not really there. So it's beautiful how we cannot see ahead of us. So that will show you the determination you have to go forward to achieve your goal. So if you, as I said, as you look at the elephant, you notice the elephant is moving and it is not looking side, the left or the right, and just keep focusing on the journey and the task. And that is something that I learned while I was at Edna Manley, which is Jamaica School of Visual Art. When you look at artwork, your eye mustn't jump from left to right. Your eye must just connect with the work. So I always use that to go forward also.
Yes, I see. All right, very good. Andy, let's go ahead and go to the next one if that works for you. Okay.
Okay, all right. I'm the type of artist who like to reward myself. At every year, my birthday, I like to reward myself by doing a painting for myself. Every birthday, I do a painting for myself. So that's how this one come up now, where this idea come to me that I should do a portrait of me, not define it where people can look at it and say, oh, it's Andy Ballentine. So I just say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to create something with a type of superhuman type of movie scene from it. So when you look, you see a person, but you're not seeing all of the person's face. And you don't see no nose, you don't see no eye, you don't see no mouth, but you can see that the person standing firm at where the person stand at the time. So that's how this piece come up. You're not seeing my hand clearly. And then I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to twist it up a little. Then I tried to put on a t-shirt on the person. And while I was putting on the t-shirt, I realized that this object is not real. It's something that I'm creating. So I just spread the paint all over and leave it like that.
Mm-hmm. So this was one of your birthday gifts that you gave to yourself.
Right.
And that's a whole interesting process, a whole evolution of how this painting came about.
Yeah, because so it showed that I'm standing firm in my career, in my art career, and I'm just keep fighting fighting the fight. I'm not going to stop. So that's all. It just come along, and I try to put some lines in it to show that, like, I'm holding a sword and my shield, like one of those like a soldier back in the days,
Mm-hmm.
one of those sword fight soldier, like a Sparta soldier or something. So that's how I see myself, and I just reward myself for with this piece.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andy, for sharing that. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Okay.
Okay, all right. This piece is the same piece behind me. This piece called Direction. And Direction now, if you notice, it have a lot of broken building inside of it. It show a lot of broken building. It have the blue, it have the red, basically like the elephant. So white name Direction. If you look closely, you see a lot of direction. It's giving you a lot of direction to the buildings. A lot of buildings is there, and it gives you a whole heap of direction to get there. So, but you have to choose the right road. You have to choose the right road, because if you don't choose the right road, you're gonna end up somewhere that you don't want to end up. So I think that direction for me is very important as an artist, to where you want to go, not just in general as to a person, but as an artist, you have to create that direction. And that's why I create this piece and call it Direction, because I want to see my work reach to that level that people, after I leave this earth, can enjoy it and look at it and say, no, we see in Andy Ballentine mind. So it's just simple like that. This is just the direction of how I see myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow. Excellent. I'm so glad that you shared that, Andy. That's really powerful. Very, very deep, going into direction and kind of going back into conviction as well. And as you said, like making choices and making the correct choices.
Yeah, correct. Because you have to you have to make the choice. There's no way you are not. There's no way you can go through life and don't make your own choice. It's just not going to end up the right way for you.
Mhm.
So if you notice, it don't have a lot of black and dark colors in it, because I want to create a direction for me that's showing me that, listen, I take the right path to life, which is art, and it's not going to have a lot of distraction because I'm focused.
Yes. Yes.
So if you notice, I put the black around the edge and a little up at the top. So I'm not looking on the left and I'm not looking on the right. I'm focused. My focus is on going forward.
Yes, yes, yes. And I see that's another kind of strong message of letting go of the past and just moving forward with strong focus, with a strong like laser type of focus.
Yeah, because if you are going to go forward and take on your journey with doubts, it makes sense. It don't make any sense to start, as Marcus Garvey, who is one of Jamaica's first national hero, said. If you think that you lose the race or you have any doubt, you lose the race before you even start. You understand? So it's best for you as a person to just focus and going forward with a positive mind. And then whatever come along, while you're on the journey, you just deal with it.
Yes.
You understand? You just deal with it.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful.
So,
Yeah.
right. So this piece named Direction.
Yes. Beautiful, Andy. I love your elaboration.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to the next one. Okay, now we see a still life.
Okay. All right. This piece, I paint this piece from imagination. This wasn't an idea or anything. I was supposed to do a TV interview in Brooklyn, and the host asked me to. They say, you know what, Andy, we want you to paint something from your mind. We are going to tell you what to paint. And I said, but you say you want me to paint something from my mind. So you want to paint something from my mind and then you want to tell me what to paint. So I said, choose one. And they said, okay, well, listen, we are going to tell you how to place the object in whatever we ask you to do, and you do it. Because see how good it is. So while I was doing the interview, they asked me if I can create the painting while I'm talking. I said, sure. So they get the canvas, the paint and everything. And they start to say, okay, we want you to paint a bowl with some fruit. And say, okay, all right, go ahead. So they give me a time. They say, can you finish it in 30 minutes? I say, I can finish it in 20 minutes, depends on how I'm going to do it. So they say, okay, go ahead. So the guy said, I want some pineapple in it. So I put the pineapple in there and say, I want some banana. I said, how much? He said, 3. I put the banana in there, put some grape in there, I put some American apples, and I put a strawberry, and I create this around 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't something that was an idea to me. Is that something? It's something that they bring to me, and I just deal with it. As I say, on the journey, when something beyond your journey and something pop up, you just deal with it. So I didn't expect they're gonna tell me to do something like this. So, but I train my mind. I always prepare. You understand? So it's just that's how this piece come along.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, what an interesting way for the painting to come around. Andy, I'm going to stop the screen share for just a second. I love all that you've been sharing and the deep perspective and insight and meaningfulness in your art. And I'm just interested because you've given us just like a nice, overview of the way that you approach the canvas, the way you approach art, the way you approach life, and how they're, interconnected and connecting with your soul and that sense of expression for you. I'm just wondering, like in the case of this last one where you had an interview and then spontaneously, they wanted you to paint while you were doing the interview, and you have this great sense of acceptance of what is, which is so beautiful. You just seem to kind of roll with it. But as you were painting and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, your sense, and I'm going to go back to what we kind of touched upon a little bit earlier, your sense of observation and detail is so acute because you were not looking at the fruit. You didn't have fruit in front of you. You didn't have a picture of it, but right. But you had to represent it, based on what they wanted you to paint, in a somewhat, representational way where someone's that's a pineapple, that's a strawberry, those are bananas. So talk to us a little bit about your sense of observation, because it kind of goes past like actually seeing it. It's like it really does come from within you. But I'd like to hear in your words, how you bring up that huge, resource and reservoir within you. And particularly in this case, to get all these details and whatnot, which is literally just coming, from your awareness, from your mind.
Well, all right. You have a lot of artists who will explain how they create art, and they try to. For me, when I'm listening to other artists explain themselves, they try to make it complicated, like it's only artists can see things in that way, and I never get that. I never saw that, I never see that, I never experienced that for my own self. So I'm always wonder how they come by saying that. But for me, as I said before, when I look at the canvas, when I look at the canvas, if I have an idea in my head and I look at the canvas, I can just actually put the canvas on the, I can just actually put the ideas on the canvas and I know where to put each color. You know, I've never searched myself and asked myself, how that possible. You know, I just know that I connect to my artist spiritual side and I'm just going to go out there and create. And that's it. It's not difficult. I can't explain it to that extent, to that length to say, you know, you have to mix this and mix that and whatever. No. I just go out there and I look at the canvas and I know exactly how to place the object and what color and how to do it. It's not something that I read in a book or anything like that. I just know that I connect with the canvas, the brush, and the paint. And, you know, I even, while I'm painting, I can tell you how much time I wash out the brush. So a lot of time I'm doing like a painting for a day. I wash out the brush over 100 times. That is patient. You understand? So as I said before, this is just one way to define it. When I'm doing my art, it's like the creator himself a minister through me. So I just go with the flow. You understand? I don't want to make it sound that I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but in the artist context that as some artists put it, but I can put it my way. I just look at the canvas and the rest is history.
Right. Yeah, I think you've explained that very well, and you've given us a really good, feel to kind of, be in your shoes and what it's like for you as the creator creating your artwork and how the process unfolds for you. And it's really beautiful, and I'm so grateful that you shared this. I wanted to touch upon a few things before we wrap things up. A part of your message also, Andy, is very positive, not just for you and encouragement for you in your life, but also for the viewer, whatever they may be going through. Is you're saying, yeah, you're going to get through this and overcome challenges. Not in every single work that we looked at, but that is at some points, like with the elephant, and that is like a prominent theme. So tell us how, with your strong conviction and your focus with your artwork and the whole way that you look at everything, your sense of overcoming challenges, because I know that you went through some challenges, as it says in your artist bio. If you don't mind us just touching upon that, with your father, where there wasn't so much encouragement to pursue art. And I think that I think many people can, have experienced that if they pursued art and perhaps they had a parent or both parents that, weren't exactly, wanting them to pursue it, or maybe it was even not even art related. It could have been anything, but maybe one of their parents was, they met up with some resistance. But you've overcome that and, been very successful, and you're doing what you love, what your passion is. So give us a little bit of advice, if you would, in your own words, and how you kind of overcame that, and you just were like, got through that, and let the doors fly open and to do what you love.
Well, all right. My father never understand art. I'm the only child from my father, and he never wanted me to be an artist because he struggled. My father really struggled to send me to school and stuff like that, and so I can eat and things like that. So my father is somebody who want to see me do one of those type of upliftment job, according to him, which is a police or a doctor or something. But my mind wasn't there. You understand? So I used to blame my father for that. But after I looking within myself, I realized that my father done good with what him have and what him can do with it. So I just look at my life and say, I have to live my life. So one day I was talking to my father and I said, listen, you didn't bring me into this world to live your dream. I have to live, I have to create my own path. And I'm not going to look back. And there's nothing you can do about it because I'm going into art. And he said, well, do your thing. So I just believe in myself, believe in that a creator, and once you ask and move towards it, the door will open. So I keep knocking on the doors every day, keep knocking, because one day somebody in there is going to get tired of hearing the noise. They're going to open the door. And when they open the door, they have a beautiful painting. They're not going to see my face. They're just going to see a painting in front of my face. And they were like, oh, this is beautiful, whatever. So I will say this to anyone out there, not just visual artists, but anyone out there who have a talent and want to elevate. Just keep believing you, nothing else. Just believe in you and believe that you can make it work. Because if you don't believe in yourself, why people should believe in you? And if you don't willing to invest in your own self, why would you expect somebody to get up and invest in you? Because I remember in 2017 when I received an invitation to exhibit in the Art Basel in Europe, in Switzerland, at the Euro airport. I didn't have the money to go, but I tell myself, listen, this is it. This is it. And I just start to sell my painting and just do what I have to do. And I get the money and I'm there at the Art Basel in Switzerland as the only Jamaican to receive an invitation that year to exhibit in that show. So when I was in Switzerland, I asked them, I said, oh, you know about me? And them said, listen, every year we search the net and you come up. You come up this year. And we check you out and we see that you're that gladiator in your art. So we have to invite you. And they say, but by the way, this is the second invitation we sent you. But you never answer the first one. Wish I never get the first one because I was touring in Louisiana at the time at Lafayette. So just look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself and say, listen, I believe in me. Don't matter if your wife, your son, whoever believe in you. It don't really matter if them believe in you. Because you don't know what behind that. But you know yourself. You know what you will stand for. You know what you will give up just to get something. So you just have to just keep pressing on. And I want to share this with artists. When I arrived in Europe, I didn't have my return ticket. And the immigration officer said, well, you have to take your stuff and come with me. So we go into a room, and give me a phone, he make a phone call and he give me the phone and he said to me, speak to the person on the line. I said, good morning. The person said, no, this is good evening. No, it's evening. Because we was traveling like so long, the place foggy and look away, so I think it was morning. So the person said, no, it's evening. Where you going? I said, well, I'm going to the Basel, Art Basel. The person asked me how much money I have. I tell them, then say, where's the return ticket? I explain to them. And then the person said, listen, we know you're coming. We expect you. We know that you're coming. I don't know who the person on the next line. I don't know who's the person. Give back the gentleman the phone. So I give back the gentleman the phone, and the gentleman says something on the phone, put down the phone, reach into a drawer, take out a piece of paper, give it to me, and say, I'm free to go. At the time now, I have a flight. I was in Paris, so I have a flight from Paris to Switzerland. But as an artist, for me, I want to see the countryside. So I said, listen, I'm going to give up that ticket to fly there and take the train. So I have to purchase a ticket on the train for 150 euro because I really want to see the countryside so I can create artwork. I can create artwork if I'm in the air. You know, so when I reach Switzerland now and everything, and we do the shows and everything, I'm ready to come over. Because I never go over there. I take the train. They say I can't come back on the flight to come to Paris, to go from Paris to Miami. So I said, what I'm going to do, they say you have to purchase a next ticket. So I remember the paper. The guy gave me, because when he gave me the paper, he said, listen, I'm going to give you this paper. Any problem, any trouble, just show the authority, and the rest is history. But I think he was just saying that because he pulled me out of the line and want me to feel good. Anyway, I remember the paper, and I showed the person the paper. And the person looked at me from head to foot, and like she was wondering, where did this guy get this paper? Where did he get this piece of paper? So she said, give me 5 minutes. She leave and come back exactly 5 minutes. And she come with a ticket. And she said, Mr. Ballentine, I'm really sorry about the inconvenience. This is your ticket. You have a window seat. This is your ticket to fly back straight to Jamaica. Just like that. Because what? It's art. I believe in myself. You know, it cost me 700, it cost me 7,000 US to go there. 7,000 US cost me. I never had to go. I could use that 7,000 US and do something. But this is my life. This is art. It's all I live for. So why turn around now? But to answer your question now, people just believe in yourself. Just believe in you, believe in what you're doing, and love what you're doing. And if you can close your eye and look at the canvas and what you see in your head, you see it on the canvas, it's simple that you're on your way. You're on your way to something good. So just keep believing yourself. No matter what, just keep believing yourself. Because in life, it's better to measure 1,000,000 times and cut one time. One time. More than you measure one time and cut 1,000,000 times. That's all. Just believe in you.
That's wonderful and so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Andy. I think we're going to leave those as the closing comments. That story that you just shared of believing in yourself and living in that authenticity and that truthness of your heart and soul and following that, and staying convicted to that path is really beautiful. And we do need to wrap the show up. Let us know, Andy, how we can stay connected with you, your social media links and whatnot.
Well, if people want to connect with Andy Ballentine, they can just andyballentine.com. That's my website. You can go there and purchase some nice artwork, prints. You can get prints there. You can get some, collective item, cups, stuff like that. My artwork there. And people can link me on Facebook, Andy Ballentine Art, Instagram, and Andy Ballentine Art. And I want to say this. I really appreciate this interview. I want to thank you very much, Leslie Sue, for this interview. It's really a great platform for us artists, and I want to thank a few people also in Nashville to give me an invitation to come and view the Picasso exhibition in Nashville. And I was the only Jamaican artist to receive an invitation to come and view the Picasso exhibition that's going on now in Nashville. And I just want to thank those people very much. As a Jamaican artist to receive an invitation like that, it's really more than I expect at this moment. But they chose me, and I'm happy for that. And just keep doing what you're doing, people. Just keep believing you. No matter what, just believe. Just keep believing. And once you believe in whatever product, whatever you're doing, and as an artist, just put the truth out there. Put you out there. You understand? just put you in your work. Because if you give your all, you don't have anything else to give.
Yes. Thank you, Andy, for your beautiful message and for your amazing
Welcome.
art coming from your heart and your soul. And for sharing all of your artistic journey that you shared with us, and your creative process as well, and helping us to get to know you and your art and the journey thus far. And of course, we wish you much success. That's a great opportunity there in Nashville. And
Thank you very much.
yes, and we wish you much more success, and stay in touch with us and let us know what's going on with you and your future creative endeavors. And thank you so much for being our guest artist today on Art and Talk.
Most welcome. And I will keep in touch. Thank you again very much.
All
And
right.
peace and love to everyone.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Andy. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for watching Art and Talk. Again, we appreciate the time you take to watch Art and Talk, and we'll talk soon on the next Art and Talk. Until then, be well and be blessed.